Good morning. Happy it's Thursday, right? Happy Thursday, people. And by the way, I know you guys saw me post that ugly ass fish, but that was some of the most delicious fish you'll ever eat. So if you ever get a chance to eat sea bass, eat it. What's happening, Tin? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, just kind of having a high anxiety morning this morning.
Uh,
Yeah, just I don't know. All I say is I feel safe in this room for the most part. Other spaces, I'm starting to get leery of now, and just seeing some people that I knew turn into people I don't know anymore, and I'll leave it there.
yeah, Tinfoil, you've been around this app long enough. People come and go, personalities come through, everybody hates them. It gets old.
It does. There's one person, and I'll tell you in the background later. That you and I know that we thought was cool, then that person, I will say, went kind of bats too crazy. And I think they're spreading as much anger and animosity they possibly can around the platform. And I'm like, holy crap. So I blocked them, and yeah. I just trying to stay as far as away I can from them. But I'm trying not to let this stuff get to me. It's just so much anger, so much rage that people have, and I'm like, wow, people, just go outside for a bit, calm down.
I think people need to disconnect, man. Maybe they're putting too much stock into it, Tin. Remember, man. You got your own cup of coffee, right? You don't need anybody else to fill your coffee. So as long as you're confident, that's all that counts. So hey, even I, yeah, Superman up here, Superfish, yup, even I got to pull it back once in a while. So I see Julie popped up. I see a Papa Carol popped up. Susan, how you guys doing this morning?
Good morning, Marlon. Doing well, doing well. Just going to be enjoying this beautiful day. It is another beautiful day in New Jersey, and got to take those while we get them, right? I mean, I was sitting out on my back deck last night for hours. It was great. It was just beautiful. The weather was not too warm, not too cold. It was perfect. And,
That's going to change.
just,
That
yeah, I
changes
know.
today.
I know. It's supposed to get really hot, and then it's supposed to rain at the weekend. I don't know. But anyway, so, big things happening, though, in New Jersey. Basically, Wake Up is down in Trenton. He's going to speak about the bill they're trying to shove through about the Climate Super Fund. Which really will penalize companies that do not comply with their green agenda. And more corporations will leave this state, not only because of the enormous, corporate tax that they have. Now that you're going to tax them even more, it's getting ridiculous. So that's happening today. And that Hamway, they're really talking about him. My God, this is the guy that was elected via Democrats. He's an Al Qaeda sympathizer. He basically, was in court with the blind sheik, the one who, coordinated the bombing of the World Trade Center before the big bombing. The big one. But this is what they're doing. So, yeah,
That's District 12. That's LD 12 is what he got.
Yeah.
Did he win?
12. He won for the Democrats. He won, on the he won his. So he's going up against, I don't know who the guy is for District 12 for the Republicans. I don't know, but it's going to be an uphill battle. It's a very blue district. People are not not even researching what these candidates are before they're voting for them. They're just seeing the D's behind the name and they're blindly hitting it. You know, that's the problem. People are not researching these things. So, yeah.
If that district is mostly Muslim, then, you know, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a few districts within there. You know, it's District 12, but it's, you know, it's in that blue area. So, yeah. I know one of the towns that this guy will be serving is in Cranberry, New Jersey, where they try to take that farm via eminent domain, and that is where Todd Beamer is buried. Slap in the face, huh? So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So crazy.
Well, hey, New Jersey's got some tough races, but again, hey, for me locally, I gained a lot of power, to be honest with you. So I'm happy. You know, my commissioner, I know her. I know one of them anyway. So, you know, it gives me a leg up. I know two other board members, so it'll be 5-3, hopefully in November. And that's good news for me, right? So that's kind of what I'm concentrating on. You know, look, you know, and remember the lines, the CD lines and the LD lines, right? Legislative lines is our state assembly, and our congressional districts are, you know, our congressional members, right? And those districts are different inside the state. So, hey, maybe I could say quick hello to Terry. Maybe we could say hello quick to Papa Carol, and then we'll say hello to Susan.
Good morning, Marlon. Congrats on those small little victories. Take them where you can in your state, right? Morning, Julie, Carol, Tinfoil, Susan.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning to everybody.
Man, I'll tell you what, it's so close, Terry. It's so close. Papa Carol, how you doing today? How's weather where you're at? It's going to be hot here, but just saying.
Oh yeah, it's been hot in Texas all week. So yeah, it's summer here already. I know we got 3 weeks or a couple more weeks at least to the official day of summer, but that ain't stopping things here in Texas. So, but it'll be in the 90s, which is preferable to the 100s. So I'll take it. Things a little crazy out here in hospice land today, you guys. I don't know, man. Seems like all the hospices are saying the same thing. We're slammed with a lot of weird things. I just lost a patient. She was 62 years old. Kept her going as long as I could. But, you know, the deep dive with the husband is, yeah, they both took a couple of those Modernas early on, which he regrets. And he immediately told the doctor he thought that's what took his wife down. Doctor says, no way, couldn't have happened. They're safe and effective, right? Anyway, just popping in. There's an action item about the 64 million mosquitoes that Google is going to unleash. And we all have the opportunity to put in our 2 cents on the topic with the federal government and tell them, hey, we just don't think this is a good idea. Once I get my chariot stopped here, I will put that down in the chat bubble for you. But it really only takes about 5 minutes to go in there, say what you're going to say. If you say nothing and, you know, suddenly you've got a increased swarm of mosquitoes in your area, then, well, you didn't say anything. So it's kind of like voting, right? Say something or, you know, don't. But that's really all I know.
You know what about the Carol?
What?
Who gives them the right to mess around with Mother Nature? Don't you think Mother Nature's going to snap back?
Oh, 100%. Have we not seen that a jillion times over? Yeah, Mother Nature doesn't put up with nonsense. But these people think they know better than God. God's mosquitoes, if something's wrong with God's mosquitoes, they're not doing what we want them to do. So we're going to make our own mosquitoes. We are going to infect them with bacteria. We are going to make them radioactive. That is absolutely what happened. They are radioactive. and they have been infected with a bacteria that now that they go and breed, it's supposed to make, mosquito population sterile or something. Like, if you want to decrease the mosquito population, unleash a bunch of dragonflies and bats and, things that eat mosquitoes. Why are you, tampering with the mosquitoes? This cannot end well, y'all. So, yeah, we have an opportunity to say
Carol,
something. Yeah.
I just question, didn't they just do the same thing with ticks also? Or is that
Well,
just like a thing to scare people?
so the alpha gal, if you're talking about the alpha gal with the Lone Star ticks, yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really landed my opinion on whether that was intentionally created and unleashed, but I do know that that alpha gal syndrome is very, very real. And so, yeah, the tick population, I mean, there's no question the tick population has exploded. It's all over everything. Even the government has admitted that we got a problem with the tick population this year. But whether there's a big conspiracy to do that, I mean, you got to kind of wonder, right? Like, something that's going to make you allergic to meat. And Bill Gates has his fake meat out there, and he tampers with all kinds of crazy things in his mad scientist brain and funds these insane experiments and stuff. Yeah, you kind of got to wonder. I will say too, well, we found a screwworm in Texas, didn't we? Again, with the beef. I mean, you guys, like, why don't they want us eating meat? Like, I don't know, but it's a lot to kind of roll around in your head and look into, isn't it?
I've experienced a lot with Mother Nature, Carol, and then we'll say hello to Susan. And a lot of the times you can see that, hey, everything runs in cycles. Broods of fish, the deer herd, and there is a lot of evidence out there around Princeton, New Jersey, right? They have colleges there. A lot of people have big money there, and they wanted the deer not to be hunted. So what they did was they outlawed hunting in Princeton. So basically, after the deer overran everybody, ate all their bushes, oh my God, we got to get rid of these deer. They talked about sterilizing the deer, and then finally, the hunters were really the ones that stepped up and said, hey, no, you should hire these guys to go in there and take care of them at night, institute the hunting again, because the checks and balances system is dependent on the hunter. And a lot of people look at us like we're evil and blah, 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 and it's just not true. PETA would attack the roads when we would duck hunt. We would have anti-protest on bear hunts in North Jersey. I mean, it's out of sight. And I think now, thinking back now, that they were paid to go do that even years ago. So does it make sense to me? Look, ticks have always been bad around my house. If you ever went in the woods around my house, you would be infested with ticks and jiggers. You would not last 12 hours in those woods. So if you don't have any kind of spray, I guess we better, start preparing for it, I guess,
Well, and yeah, and even the natural predators for deer, right? So it's kind of, leans towards man to help out a little bit, and my whole thing with health, as I talk about health, people have heard me say this so often: nature balances nature. And we get in there as human beings in our arrogance and our hubris, and we think that we need to be in there just meddling with stuff. We cannot exist in nature as natural organisms that we are. So I don't know, man. I think sometimes that we have screwed up a lot of things. So when I say we, I'm not talking about, necessarily me and you, because we're trying to do our best out here. But a lot of people out there that think that they can and it's science, right? Science is the study of nature. Well, as they study of nature, they're like, oh, we can do better. We can, make this all better than God made it. Oh, I'm telling you, crazy thinking. There used to be asylums out there for stuff like that,
And one was in Lakeland, New Jersey. This was the crazy house. This is where they put all those people. It's funny. Conservation is different than meddling, right? conservation on, hey, some of the species that we were taking advantage of when we were younger. We would load the boat with fish. There was no limits on them. And now that I feel my ocean environment has really gotten a lot stronger. The bluefin tunas are making their way back. The flounders are getting bigger. Few and farther between because it checks and balances system, but the flounders are getting bigger. The sea bass are getting bigger. So I can't say that, hey, that conservation does work. Limits work. So I think that's where we should limit it, is really paying attention to where, hey, we can control what we're taking, but we cannot control what's going on. That deer is still going to breed with or without us. That striper is still going to have a brood of fish, whether we want to or not. So once we figure that out and get these, Bill Hates, I think the name is, right?
All right, I have reached my destination, good people. Thank you for letting me come up and say good morning and kind of drop a few ticks on you. Meanwhile,
Good to see you.
I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I'll see you in another space at another time.
Bye, Carol.
Have a great day.
Well, let's say hello to Susan. We'll say hello to Truth, and then maybe we could say hello to Dr. Angela real quick. So, Susan, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks, Marlon, for the mic. And Terry, Mr. President, good to see you again. And Truth, you're the man. I just wanted to ask, what's going on? I haven't seen anything on X about Delaney thing. Did they do away with the curfew? Are they still protesting? Are the
Can
state
I
police
answer
still
that,
there?
Marlon?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, they did away with the curfew. They are back at it again. They are not allowing cars again to come in and out. They are not. I don't know. I didn't hear yet if the police action are still there helping out. They should be. I think there was one state trooper that was I don't know if he's like the head or whatever, but he was like saying, no, we're here now. We're not going to be leaving. So that's happening. Mark, I did put in the bubble, or I'm putting in the bubble. They pretty much have found out the NGOs in the slush fund that is paying for these protesters to be there, and it's in the billions. It's disgusting. I put it. I think I put it in the bubble. If not, yeah, I did. It's Eric Daugherty. He posted it, but it was a bombshell report that confirmed that groups organizing riots and agitators at Delaney Hall, New Jersey, have close to $1 billion in annual revenue. Nonprofits are involved who get tax benefits. Knew it. So they are honing in on who is funding this. So that's really about the last we heard. They went in, they passed with, they had inspections, and they passed with flying colors. And so that's basically where it is. I really think what, Susan, they want to do is they're trying to get ICE to, unfortunately, get into a confrontation with one of these protesters, and then they get killed, just like what happened in Minnesota. So they can really fire up a thing. But I think that they are a lot smarter this time, and they're not going to allow that to happen. So that's basically where we're at right now.
Yeah, you cut the funding, they'll all go away.
There's actually 4 detention centers in New Jersey. I don't think Mount Laurel's police would put up with this. We saw with the state police. Hey, man, I think it was, and some people had asked me that question, and unfortunately, Phil, I'm like 2 hours from where this is happening, right? So there's no way I could be there or anything like that.
one thing, just like we know the whole playbook of all the Democrats and the gun grabs that are going to come up, all that kind of crap. It's the same old song.
Go ahead, Julie, and then we'll go to Dr. Angeles.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quick, you were talking about the windmills and, that there are, like you said, it's still going to be ongoing. And that's why you can't put your, rest on your laurels just because you got one big win. There's a lot of hurdles to still cross. The same thing with the data centers. I know that one in Andover is a short term that they got rid of it for now, but I don't think the fight's over with that yet. And then also, not only wind farms, what's really getting bad now is these solar things are starting to scare me. They want to put these in all bodies of water. They want to put these solar panels in all bodies of water. This is what the new thing is. They were already commissioned for the Wanacue Reservoir. And now I just saw a picture on Facebook and the Lake Kapakong Foundation that they were welcoming that Miha, the one that won Mikey Sherrill's seat in the Congress. And I tell you something, they had better not be thinking about putting solar panels in Lake Kapakong. They just said better not even try. That'll be a big fight. So I just want to say, yeah, it's bad with the windmills, but now the solar panels are even worse, and the ramifications. And they know that what happens with the solar panels and the destruction that it will cause and the pollution that it will cause. So just wanted to keep everybody's heads up on that one too.
And again, most people think like, hey, I'm against green energy in the plant. No, I'm not. It's just the way that it's implicated. Dr. Angela, how you doing? It's been a minute.
Good morning, Marlon. It has been a minute. I am at the tail end of having run a campaign for the past 4 months, and I am absolutely wiped out. Mornings have not been my normal mornings because I've been up super late, and I too am furious about the Green New scam and their idea of being green, and they're destroying our planet. It makes me so angry. That's one of my passionate issues too. But good to be here with you guys this morning.
Amen, lady. Hey, well, everybody needs to rest, but hey, I'm glad. I hope not only it was educational with that campaign. I hope you were, successful. And I think a lot of people that are helping campaigns, they really got to prop the people up who lost, right, Dr. Angela? Like, even though they lost, they still captured vote share, and they need to build on that for the next seat that comes up. That's basically what we need to do. We need to do that here in Jersey, too.
Yeah, it's hugely an issue of name recognition. And I'm not a professional politician. I haven't run before. So, yes, it is so important to get name recognition out there. And I busted my chops to do door to door and all kinds of things where I can get out and meet people. And I think in the long run, that'll be helpful because I got to shake hands, get to know people, answer questions in person. We also did some meet and greets across the county, in people's homes or at their ranches. And people understand, I get it. I get their issues. So yes, 100%.
these consultants that are working for both sides during these elections, it's pretty biased, especially New Jersey. You know, I would say there's a lot of tactics that are coming out, and you know, you can see it. You know, like you said, I guess we all had to see. Go ahead, Take Back. How you doing? And we'll say hello to Mike.
Hey, Marlon, thanks for giving me the mic. So yesterday, I was supposed to go to a victory party. Excuse me, a second. But I didn't go. And so I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm looking for election results. And so I stumble onto WHYY website, which is Channel 12 here in Philadelphia area. And so they're reporting the results. And we had first place, second place, and third place for the Senate, the federal, the U.S. Senate. And I'm looking at the numbers. And of course, I'm looking, the third place guy is the guy I went to win. And he was out there campaigning all over the state. Of course, yeah, the top three guys were. But so I'm looking at the numbers, and all of a sudden, he jumps from number 3 to number 2. I'm thinking, he's gonna pull it off, right? And so I start downloading and taking screenshots of the numbers as they're reporting, and I'm thinking, and then they had a heat map for New Jersey, and I know where the third place candidate campaigned heavily, and I'm seeing that the heat map says there's nothing going on there. I'm thinking that's kind of weird, because I know, having worked on his campaign, that he was in that area or areas up north where there's a lot more people, and here he's getting the southern Atlantic County and Ocean County are in his bag, but nothing up north. So I'm thinking, let me start screenshotting these results. And so I put them into a spreadsheet, and wouldn't you know that the percentage of the total votes for each of the candidates after he moved up in the second place were all the same. The rest of the night, the reports were all the same. Everybody had the same percentages within 1.5% of their previous one. So you know that's impossible to happen. And so New Jersey is that's one of the ways that, well, you can see that it's circumstantial evidence, but it leads to a good question. So that was
I'm glad you came up today, because do you know Barbara? Man, I forget her last name, but Barbara was. Yeah. So Barbara was really, you know, she ran for commissioner, and she actually won. So yeah, man, I see in the local, I'm really happy. My establishment did not win in my town. The two local guys that won the township seats, you know, they're looking to hear from the constituents. That's what they're promising. So we're going to put the screws to them, but I'm glad to see Barbara got, you know, really elected to run in November here. And it would be great to have that connect inside. So yeah, man. So we'll see what happens, and it's great because now, in Gloucester County, I know 4 of the candidates that are up there, 2 on the board and 2 that are being voted in. So that gives me a leg up.
So now we have to watch and make sure that they get elected, and in the campaigns, you have to remind everybody, it's not only campaigning up to the election, but it's how to challenge it afterwards when you find out there's maladministration or some wrongdoing, or the chain of custody is not there. You know, all those things, you can't stop at the election. You have to go for the challenge afterwards. In New Jersey, there's 3 deadlines for challenging, and they're pretty quick. So you have to know ahead of time, and you have to have your resources in place to capture that information. And you have to do an affidavit of because that's evidence in court. You know, so you have to do all that stuff. It's not real easy, and you can't stop. Like I said, at the election, it's not over.
No, it sure isn't, especially for California.
Really.
Thanks, Dake. Yeah, so let's say hello to John, and then we'll go to you, Miles.
Marlon, good to see you, man. Just want to pop up and say hi to everybody. You know, you're talking about when I hopped in, you're talking about getting more action locally, you know, and I was just thinking, I'm like, yeah, I definitely, I'm a proponent for the rope theory, but it definitely appears that we're kind of, let's say, elevated to the Samson theory. So my suggestion, if you see it that plainly, that clearly, just let that building collapse, man, because there's very clear signs out there right now. You know, my end, what I'm specifically working on and have been for the last 6 years now almost, you know, is dealing on a few different multifaceted levels with the kids in general, but, you know, not only protecting them and preserving them in the now, but for the future in different ways too. And in doing that, we need to clean up our justice system, top down, bottom up, sideways, left, right, in and out, all. It has to be revamped, the whole entire structure, right? We have one Supreme Court. It's in standing. It you know, it does wield constitutional authority. Getting there, good luck, right? We have a district court nightmare that is literally run rampant for far too long. So just, you know, FYI, 2 states to watch: Ohio in the now, not so much MSM type stuff, but like just take note, pay attention to what's happening. Ohio is definitely going to be, let's say, the poster child in a lot of ways as far as cleaning up and you know, doing it in a way where the power will be granted towards, you know, the people once again, and they're leading the charge on that front. And then Wisconsin, you know, I've been trying my best to not make things nationally exposed because I didn't want that. I made it very clear at the beginning in different ways and speaking to different levels of, you know, people and that sorts of thing. And it's inevitable now, right? So for me, it's like, yep, okay, it's time to go. Let's go. You know, it's the one thing to be on defense when you need to be on defense, you know, but let them collapse themselves when they need to. And then when that time comes, and, you know, we're ready to, you know, in whatever field that we're working in or whatever, you know, mission or whatever sort of field or, you know, our purpose or journey in life, you know, it's like we got to seize that moment. Right. And I hear more and more and more, especially the last, I'd say 2 months, especially, but especially last month, there's more and more people that are really hyper focused. And I love hearing that. And we just got to keep, you know, our eyes straight, obviously, you know, keep that honorable walk that we have to walk because, you know, these people are just literally in, you know, staring at the reflection pond with, you know, 3-sided mirror and they're involved in a one-legged ass kicking competition right now. And we just have to let them do it. You know, in the meantime, not interfere with that. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, give a little glimpse on some things. I mean, there's a lot happening on different fronts, especially politics playing into literally everything. But there's a lot of good things, positive things happening on the front as far as the judicial system for changes too. So.
Well, John, you said something about the reflecting pond. You know, Trump has put aside some money to actually clean it up, and the Democrats are breaking his balls, right? You know, John, in my own local DA did this to me, right? I had a buddy that grew up with me, went to school with me, and I was just a touch older. And back then we were able to, hey, if somebody was 21, hey, they look like you took the other guy's birth certificate down to the DMV, you got a driver's license made, yada, 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 right? You know, 18 years later, this guy takes my ID and he gets caught soliciting drugs throughout the state, Camden, Mullica Hill, all of these different areas. He had developed tickets, and I had to go defend myself because he used my name. Finally, it was one police department that he had my driver's license number memorized, and when he would get pulled over, he'd quick throw it out there, and this guy ended up costing me thousands of dollars, and I did catch up to him later on. But even back then, John, the district attorney turned to me. He says, do you really want to put your friend in jail? Do you really want to prosecute him? Like, they were light on crime then. I can only imagine how bad our judicial system and, hey, look, I live next to Camden. I mean, they're not locking people up for just misdemeanors anymore. They get caught shoplifting. It's like a fine they're paying. It's not even they're going in front of the judge anymore, dude. So you want to talk about how convoluted that our judicial system, even on a local level, John, right? Those DAs are soft on crime. That shit is for real.
Well, yeah, and you're not wrong at all. And it's terrible to even say this, but it's very, very true. And I've experienced this myself firsthand. They're light on crime when it's to their benefit, right? Because the system has to keep a return customer. So in order to perpetuate the beast, you have to fulfill it with either customers, right? i.e. people, or some sort of placeholder. So the light on crime aspect, you're 100% right. The people who are actually the criminals are the ones gaslighting and releasing the criminals, while then using political hit pieces and all sorts of narratives, just like they did back in Kennedy's time frame, right? I've been saying this for years now that this whole sovereign citizen crap that they're pulling on people, giving us this slander name, and then the ADL puts this out as a giant hit piece on people who want to assert their authority and just go in accordance to the Constitution and their God-given rights. Now it's this big slander piece, right? So sovereign citizen is the conspiracy theorist of Kennedy's time, and this is what is exactly happening. And they're weaponizing people in that sort of element, and it's unfortunate because they're destroying people's lives and they really just don't give two shits about it. They, excuse my French, but I mean, the fact of the matter is they're literally destroying lives and they don't care. A lot of these people who are doing this, and I'm not saying them all, but it is so incestual now and it is so rampant in the system because they all got something on something. And it's, judge not lest ye be judged, right? Well, it's we're beyond rocks and glass walls, right, and ceilings. It is so far beyond that. It's
John, look, a lot out of the sovereign citizen is good stuff. I mean, a lot of it we could use as regular citizens, but when you're going into it and you say, hey, I don't want to pay my taxes anymore, I'm going to become a sovereign citizen, this is how people got destroyed. They were listening. Oh, this is how easy it is. They talk about the driver's license. That'll explain to you that when you get pulled over and you don't present your driver's license, you're probably going to go to the clink. You're definitely going to go to the clink here. And you can scream sovereign citizen all you want, dude. You are going to have to fight. You may win at the end, but it's going to cost you time. Just like not paying our taxes. Dude, look, you have to pay your property taxes. They are going to put a lien on your house here. It's just like those excuses on why they wanted to do it was miscued. And the guys really didn't give them the information about, hey, the lives that they did destroy, John. We watched it here on this app for 4 years. We watched the rise and fall of those people. If you remember back, think about all those people that were here. Oh, yeah, I'm a sovereign citizen. You know what? They all had problems. They all lost their houses. They're all sitting in the clink. They didn't do it for the right reason or the right statute to stand on, dude.
Right. And I know Miles has got his hand up, but I just want to add one more thing. The term itself, and this is why language matters. This is why I really love language, and I've learned a lot about it because, I'm just a simple man. I really am. My yes is yes and my no is no, and it's just that easy. The truth always shines through even the darkest pits. But the fact of the matter is, we have to be mindful of our words, right? When we're using these terms as attachments, they literally have meaning. And when I say a sovereign citizen hit piece, I'm saying it is the biggest oxymoron and ridiculous statement. Nobody should be saying sovereign citizen because it's an oxymoron. You can't be sovereign and a citizen all in one fell swoop. God is sovereign. We're supposed to emulate that, period. End of story. When you're in your private, there. When you're in the public, you have a public lawful person you have to abide by in accordance to the public law. People need to know the separation and the difference. That's the thing, right? And I agree with you, Marlon. You know, obviously there's been tons of spaces and debates about that. We got into the depth and minutia on a lot of things. Unfortunately, it was a really early time frame too, and they weaponized that, you know. So now it's just like, how do we bring it back around? How do we just, you know, simplify this, disseminate it, and keep it very simple and instill you.
Back when they signed a petition, I signed a petition along with the Military Accountability Act. The retired people that, hey, came on board and they signed this oath, you know, they talked a lot about natural law. And at that point, a lot of the discussion was, hey, why? I think, you know, don't get me wrong, some of the things can be sifted out of their Black's Law dictionaries. Yes, you can sift a lot out of there. But if you're going to go to sovereign citizens type and you're going to try and avert paying your taxes, and you're just going to have a problem. So, John, it's a great subject, you know, and people were breaking my stones because I didn't step up and become a sovereign citizen. Well, you know what? You don't know the implications of having a small business, your insurance implication, your tax implication. I mean, dude, you know, I worked really hard to get to where I'm at. I'm not all ready to throw it away there, you know, catch my drift. So, hey, Miles, how you doing, man?
Just real quick, sorry, Miles, I know you're so patient. I just on John, you know, it's funny you brought up the Bible, of course. Judge not unless you be judged yourself, right? That's in the book of Matthew, starting in chapter 7. It's the first 6 verses. I just want to point out that that's used against us so much, because if you read further after not judging, it actually says, you know, you hypocrite, if you got a log in your own eye, why don't you take the log out of your own eye first? But then it says, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. So anyway, just had to throw it in there. Go ahead, Miles. Thanks for your patience, bud.
Amen. Truth. Good point. I mean, we have to make our own corrections first in life in order to actually walk in truth. Couldn't agree more.
Go ahead, Miles.
Good morning, everybody from East Central Minnesota. Yeah, sure, you betcha. So there's a 7-second delay, and I don't know if Jenny was talking about this new appointment at the DNI. This is really big, guys. We've been talking about mortgage fraud for 6 years, and he knows all about that. He just needs to be in the right place to get all the pieces together for another RICO case. So this goes back to Arizona. I don't know if you were paying attention back then. It was exposed 6 years ago how the cartels are buying houses, and it's a money laundering operation. It's at least happening in 20 states. And so this person I'm talking about is Bill Putti, and he's got all the tools to work with right now. And it goes back to the Pandora Papers. And those were exposed back in 6 years ago. And General Flynn has those Pandora Papers. Trump knows about them too. So I don't know if Jenny had brought that up about this new DNI appointment. That's why they're freaking out.
Do you remember the interview that Jeff DeWitt had with Carrie Lake, right? or am I saying that right? Yeah. The election part, and that interview showed that, number one, the cartels were instituted in every 50 states in the union. They admitted that, but also, Arizona came across. I remember specifically seeing mortgages that were bought by the cartels that were given to all these people. This was probably 2.5 years ago. This is a long time ago.
Yeah, it goes way back. And so, for instance, let's say you buy a house for 250, you put 50 in, the cartel comes up and gives you 4 million. Hello. So yeah, it's going from Arizona all the way up to Maine, and but it's in the evidence is there. It's in the Pandora Papers. So look. I hope this is the beginning of the end instead of the other way around. But that's why they're all freaking out because they're saying, "Well, he has no." Pardon me?
Where is the Foreign Investment Committee? They should be checking these transactions. If a cartel member came out of country and he came here to buy land or houses, have mortgages, where's the money trail? The money trail is there. It's the Department of.
You were just talking about the justice system is corrupt. So.
Yeah, I get it. Well, hey, Berkshire and Hathaway, they were accused that, hey, they were going in and gobbling up all of the homes down there near Charlotte and Raleigh, and they were going out into these neighborhoods and homes for, yes, an elevated number. And I forget, there was a woman who came in here. I'm not sure if I think it was Linus, right? She had the same problem, right? Okay, Jenny, how you doing?
Good, Marlon. And don't forget, too, Miles knows this, I'm sure, Mark Taylor, he's exposing this mortgage fraud. Between the mortgage fraud and all these school bonds that is about to come out as well, this all kind of goes back to what Miles is talking about. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to transpire, everybody, that's going to probably say a lot when it comes to these elections come November. So, yeah, be prepared for that.
Now, I'll have to tell you, every time that I've heard about them postponing elections, Jenny, I'll have to admit, it's been a nothing burger, right? We were told 2 years ago, they're going to hold up the election and they're not going to, I want to see the process happen before I can sign on with that.
Well, nobody has to sign on to it, but people doing the dates out there, dates are always an epic fail. But at the end of the day, what we're seeing and what's transpiring, we're getting more and more to that point of potentially, it being postponed, or just the 2020 election comes out and it's fraud, right? And that vitiates everything. So, I mean, we are seeing more and more now come out about the elections than we ever have, and something's got to give. Because the elections are this year. We've got the 250th anniversary coming up, so something's got to give. And that's why I say, don't forget the potentiality of these executive orders. And Trump is a wartime president. He has more power than many of us realize. So always have those things in the back of your, because these things are going to transpire. Nobody knows when, but we're seeing it now be more and more closer to it. Us potentially, before the elections come this November. We'll see.
That would be through EQ, and then I could imagine the rhetoric behind that, right? Oh my God, Trump's the dictator. He's the king. It's blah 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 blah. It's oh my gosh.
Yeah, of course. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do. But that's all they have left, right? So, I mean, but this again is just more exposure, guys.
It was a total discussion on CNN last night about Trump's cognitive. Oh, he was sleeping in the meetings. We're worried about. Come on. I mean, the guy has proved that the guy only sleeps 3-4 hours a night. He's proved this over and over and over. I mean, I can imagine the guy's a little stressed about now. Anyway. Well, hey, Scotty. I see Scotty came up. Scotty, man, how you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, Marlon. It's good to see you and everybody else. I've missed coming in. We changed our production schedule at Sovereign Radio. We produce in the morning now, so I haven't been able to get in much. It's good to see everybody.
Yeah, man.
How you doing?
Hi, Scotty.
Hey, is that Julie?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Julie. So I was just listening into your conversation before I talk about Tina Peters. Thanks
How
for
are you?
thanks for giving me the mic. According to two sources that I've talked to, Jerome Corsi and Juan O'Savin, President Trump is, I don't know if you've discussed this, he's going to declare a national emergency prior to the midterms. And under that national emergency, he's going to mandate all the things we know that make an election have integrity again. Paper ballots, 1 day of voting, counting them in 1 day, IDs required, all the things on the checklist, on the bucket list of what it takes to do the elections right, prohibiting them from cheating. And under a national emergency, anybody who doesn't go along with that, and this will take active duty military at polls and so forth to enforce, but anybody who doesn't go along with the program will be arrested. So this is the plan that I have been told from those two sources. They're pretty good sources, and I don't know where they both came up with this, but if it's true, we should have a election midterms with some integrity, with all those things that make up, a fair election. So all we can do is stay in prayer for our nation and hope we get this done right in the midterms.
You know, Scotty, and then, hey, you could definitely give us an update on Tina Peters. That'd be great. But, back in January and February, I thought that it was going to come down before Iowa caucus, right? I thought because, hey, here comes our brand new primary season, and man, there's got to be something that comes out about this, and election integrity, something. But now I just feel look, I understand, null and void, but now they're going through every state. Texas, we watched Doc fall, right? Okay, we got Paxton in there. But I mean, at the end of the day, they should have straightened this out before the primary started. That was my thought. I'm shocked that it's not.
I mean, I think they would just set a further trap. For example, the mayor race in LA, visibly you could see the vote switched from Spencer Pratt to Karen Bass. And I think what they're doing, and they're waiting to the midterms to straighten this out, is laying more traps. Because Space Force, which is the architecture and infrastructure that has everything that is electronic, internet, is captured by Space Force. One of the purposes of Space Force is primarily not to monitor space, but to monitor all the communications that are happening in space via satellites. But I think they're just setting more rat traps, Marlon. I think the rat traps continue, and Trump strategically knows that he can't allow this to go on through the midterms because he needs to have both the House and the Senate. And if it's left to the American people, I believe the House and the Senate will fall on the side of hopefully Republicans, not rhinos. But that's a whole nother discussion. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. But the two men I heard this from, 107 talked about it on Sovereign Radio for an hour, and in fact, he said he and his team wrote the executive order that's going to go along with the declaration of a national emergency. And under the national emergency, there is nothing any individual, any organization, any entity can do to disobey what comes from that national emergency. So I think via an executive order that'll come side by side with the national emergency. But this is national emergency, American homeland security issues.
Well,
And
Scotty,
it's
how
long
do you
overdue.
How do you see like a state like New Jersey? How are they going to enforce it when our own government is not going to abide? I mean, look at what's going on at Delaney Hall in New Jersey, right? Now, our governor is standing up there with them. Right? Like, what are we expected to believe as New Jersey residents that, hey, the Mikey Sherrill government install here, they're going to go along with Trump? They're going to fight him every step of the way, man. If something like that, it
But
would
Marlon,
be the only way I could see it would be some kind of military installation
Bingo.
using the National
Bingo.
Guard, something.
Bingo.
Right? That's
Military's
the only way.
The
The only
military is
way.
the only way.
The only way the Americans are going to accept it. Julie, did you want to say something?
No, that was me, Jenny. I was just gonna don't forget, Trump is a wartime president, so he has a lot more power than people realize. He can do more things, even on a state level, than people realize. So remember that.
Indeed, indeed. So, Marlon, I think we'd all agree it's long overdue. We would have liked to have seen this process, but everything that Trump and the military are doing is slow drip, step by step. They're gauging through social media. They're gauging through general public opinion. Where the American people's head is at. Dr. Jan Halper Hayes for years was employed by the Homeland Security Department of Defense to gauge where America's head was at in terms of supporting Trump. And her mission was to let the military know when he had 70%. And that occurred before the 2024 elections. So he's had the support of the American people. And if in fact it's at 70% or greater, they can now start doing things that they couldn't do back in 2020. Certainly not his first term. He really didn't have a lot of wiggle room because the country was still so divided. But we're not so. The only ones who are going to tell you we're divided is the mainstream media and Hollywood, in the entertainment industry. But America's not divided. There's not much racism. There's not much division. We are really not anywhere near as close to divided people as the media wants us to believe. So, in any event, let's hope that this plan is real, that there is going to be national emergency. And to your issue, is the governor of New Jersey and his nitwits, his sycophants, going to go along with it? Probably not. But guess what? They'll end up in the slammer where they belong. They'll be literally pulled off the streets if they're, and they'll be monitored by military entities. I don't know how that's going to work, poll by poll or state by state. It may vary, but believe me, the military knows where they need to deploy these teams to monitor the elections. They know they got to be in New Jersey. They know they got to be in Chicago, L.A., Portland. They know where they got to go, where the fraud is the most likely to occur. I mean, it just happened last Tuesday night. Mayoral elections. It was so obvious. Once again, on a live count, you could see the votes flip in 2 seconds. Thousands of votes flipped from Pratt and went to God. I don't even want to say her name. I can't think of her name right now. The bonehead mayor. Anyway, she's persona non grata. I do believe Pratt's going to get a fair shot, and he will go up against Mayor Bass and defeat her. But without this national emergency and any subsequent executive orders that mandate these things that create election integrity, we're indeed screwed because they're not going to stop. They're not waving a white flag. They're not going to stop cheating. They did it Tuesday night. They'll continue to do it through the midterms. They simply are not going to give up on their own. But when forced to, when they know full well, let's say he issues this national emergency 30 days ahead of the elections, the ground rules are going to be laid. They're all going to know what the rules are for the November elections. They're all going to be told failure to comply will be immediate arrest, and not in the admiralty law system, not in the criminal court system we have. This will be military uh, military law, military courts, and tribunals. They're not going to be arrested into the corrupt judicial system that's been running in all 50 states.
Well, dude, from your lips to God's ears, Scotty.
I know.
Yeah,
Listen,
what
don't
I
shoot
would
the
like no
messenger,
more
man.
than
I'm just a messenger of two
Hey,
guys who are pretty credible that both came up with the same plan, and they don't really talk. They're not like buddies. They don't. Corsi and 107 don't talk to each other.
You
Hey,
know,
before
Marlon, real quick, John Bolton apparently is set to plead guilty over the mishandling of classified documents. Just an FYI, just came out.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Scotty, before you go on to Tina Peters, can we go to Julian Take
Of
Back?
course.
Maybe they got something. Yeah, let's go to them.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Julian, and we'll go to you, Take Back. And I know Thankful came up if you'd like to jump into.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quick, with this whole thing with in New Jersey, Marlon, with this whole stuff that Mikey Sherrill, the stunts that she's pulling, just remember she can't override federal jurisdiction. So all this stuff is she's just trying to rile up her base. None of these things are going to happen. She tried to say that ICE couldn't wear masks. They laughed in her face. I'm not, they're just trying to spark, hate, more division and hatred. That's really all they've got. Just like Jenny was saying, they don't have much left. So it's, going to be division. It's going to be racism. It's going to be whatever they can do to spark that fear. And I just wanted to say, guys, there's 100 people something in this space. There's only 44 likes and reshares. Please do me a favor and go down to that purple bubble, like and reshare the space. And then if you're so kind to, please go over to Rumble and to YouTube, give it a thumbs up, get that one also up on the algorithm. Let's get going. We got a good space going on here. Thank you very much.
You know what, Julie? Somebody had texted me in the background. I keep coming off the board, right? So when people come into the space, they first off, they can't find it. They got to go to the profile. Then they look and see who's in there. If you guys do retweet the space, it puts it back up on the bar so that they can see it. So somebody else was DMing me in the background. They couldn't see the space. So I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. Take Back, do you want to jump in there? And then we'll go to you, Thankful. And then Scotty, definitely get the Tina Peters update here.
Yeah, thanks, Marlon, for the mic again. I went to my Rumble channel because I have I put up a Arizona investigation in the Arizona Senate about the voting and the mortgages and election integrity, all how they're doing it. So I put that. Well, I don't know if I put it in the purple bubble, but I will as soon as I'm done. So it's about a 20 or 30 minute video of somebody testifying in a hearing. And going back to what Scotty said about the 30-day executive order or martial law or whatever it is, I don't see how that can happen because having developed having followed the ballot hand counting systems for a long time and having developed my own system and trying it out, that you're not going to get the people together with the number of instructions that have to be done to educate them on adjudication of the ballots. It's not going to happen in 30 days. I can tell you that, unless there's nobody working, because if they shut down everything, then and highly focus on it, maybe that would happen. But I doubt it because the people.
I'm sorry. You know what? There's a really good question there, Take. You talked about the adjudication process. When our county clerk is the one that picks the team to go in there and oversee it. But are they seeing all of the early vote actions and the early votes? Are they actually seeing the adjudication process then? Or is it just, hey, they're more free at day of election? I mean, are they in tight all the time? Are they watching the early vote metric with the adjudication process there?
It's not even that. It's just that the adjudication process has to be detailed. And there's a lot of cases where, is a check mark okay? It's a mark on the ballot that's unique to that ballot, so you can tell who who voted. You know, if you're not filling in the circle or oval all the way, or you have a pigtail coming out of there, that's a mark on the ballot that can identify who voted, how you voted. And that adjudication process is very complicated. And having instructed people on adjudication from my hand counting system that I've tried and tested, I can tell you that the people 3 or 4 times, they still don't get it. You know, the adjudication process is more complicated than you see, and the ballot chain of custody, you know, and the batches and stuff like that, you know, that's there's no chain of custody now, and so all that training it's not going to occur in 30 days, and people living their lives in a normal work environment, and you're not going to get the Board of Elections to do it because you can't trust them already. So why would you trust them to do that? So I have to push back on Scotty's 30-day executive order. That's not going to work. It may work and it may help the situation, but it's not going to solve the problem. And I want to remind you that President Trump is not coming to your county to fix your county. You know, you got to do it. So you have to develop the hand counting system. You have to train people on it. And the elections are the people control the elections, not the people that are elected. The people elected controlling their own elections is insane to even think that could be work out right. So yeah, I have to push back on that, Scotty. Sorry about that.
I'm just telling you that I don't know that team is in there looking at the adjudication process in their early vote. Okay, Jenny, you want to say something, and we'll go to that. Thank.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Take Back. Do you think possibly in the background that they're already training some of these people for the new adjudication process? Do you think that could, like, you know, a lot of this stuff we know is being done behind the scenes?
I highly doubt it. You know, I've been following the ballot hand counting system for years, and that's why I saw some of the ballot hand counting processes that they're promoting on Mike Lindell and Cause of America. They're doing a great job. You know, there's probably a dozen of them, probably 6 or 7 that are listed right on the Cause of America website, along with mine. And they don't go into the detail that I go into. So, you know, unless the military's doing it, and then how are you going to get the military into the Board of Elections in every county, you know, or even in the critical ones?
Yeah,
You know,
but even like Jenny said, we wouldn't even know. Take Back, if we weren't working inside of that, you wouldn't even know the military was in there learning, making sure, verifying residents, going against the census. I mean, you know, they would have to have some kind of education. They're not going to be able to walk in there the day of and just handle
Right.
it. It's not going to happen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right.
So, hey, let's go to Thankful. How you doing? Good to see you. And then we'll go back to you, Scotty, with Tina Peters.
Hey, Marlon, it's really good to see you. You haven't popped up on my stuff for a long time.
Well, it's good to see you too.
Nice to see you. So I had a couple of things. Yes, I live in California, and California is completely lost its mind. Like we had none already, but it's way worse. So early voting that started a month prior. In California, mail-in ballots that's what everybody does because they took away the option. They told people you had no other option. People don't even realize that they still do have a precinct. They don't tell you about the precinct until like right at the end. So I did the precinct thing this time. There was nobody there. All my friends, my active senior friends from the senior center were all working. But as a child, as a 18-year-old, I stood in a line Tuesday morning. I walked in and I walked straight up to the little booth, marked my thing. I could have left in 3 minutes. I stood around and talked to my friends for a couple minutes. So couple other things I wanted to bring up is 2 million of those mail-in ballots were sent out of California for the election that we're in right now. 2 million. That's crazy, completely crazy. Now we have counting. So the counting is going to take 40 days before they certify it. They take all late ballots, no questions asked. No ID is shown whatsoever. So that's all bananas. I was in a space recently where the registrar of voters or someone who had worked in their office in San Diego so that there no one ever sits and matches signatures to the front, the name on the front or anything like that. They said that's just there's no time for them to do that. And I'm like, no time in all of those days. I'm like, okay, but that's the guy said. um my two other points is I pay attention to what's going on a lot in my area, and the gerrymandering that went through California recently. I lost the person that had been my representative, and I have a new representative. And I didn't figure that out until I read the ballot. And I'm like, hey, where's the guy I want to not vote for? He's not on my thing anymore. I've been changed to a new district. They redistricted, and that's bananas. So my last point is probably one of the most red redneck, however you want to put it, red towns in California, now it has been divided into 4 districts. So a very, very small little town over in the Central Valley, they changed the lines so that they have actually 4 different representatives. They're never going to be able to get anything done in that town. And that was what the big um, crazy. Everybody was so upset about gerrymandering when they were doing this because Clovis has always been a very solid town and a really good school district and a great place to live. And it now is part of 4 different districts, none of which are based in Clovis. So they lost like all of their, they just took all of their representation away from them. So nice to see all you guys. Love to hear Marlon's voice, and thank you so much for letting me talk. And I land my plane right there.
Well, good to see you. Thankful. Thanks for coming in. And, hey, this would be a great time to talk about, instituting some kind of convention of counties, right? Change the electoral system. The electoral system, even here in New Jersey, is the same way. Sussex and Bergen depict all of the policy for this state because of the amount of people that live up there. But those people up in Sussex and Bergen, they couldn't understand my policies, what I need. I live in a farm district. I live, 20 minutes from the blueberry capital of the world. How could that policy actually work for South Jersey, right? So, again, I think that should be really, and especially about California, changing it to put the vote back into the hands of each and individual towns. You make up districts inside of the county. They work on a point system. There is a way through here that could eliminate all of what we just talked about, the gerrymandering and all that stuff. It would go back down to taxation with representation. That's basically what we're talking about. Everybody knows that there's a problem with the electoral system. I believe that's one solution. I am not up for convention of states. It leaves it too wide open to manipulate the constitutions in those states. That's why I'm not a fan of that. You do have to change the constitution to change the electoral system in our state. But I would be willing that a lot of people would agree with some kind of convention of counties. So enough of that. I've went over that 1,000 different times. I've gotten 1,000 different responses. But when you think about it, our electoral system is the problem. Scotty, would you like to jump in there? Maybe you can give us an update on Tina Peters here.
Sure thing. Before I do that, I'm glad Take Back came forward. The 30 days is not something that Juan O'Savin and Jerome Corsi laid out. They laid out no timing. And based on what Take Back said, they're obviously going to have to do this 90, 120 days. All I can say is this is a military operation. And make no mistake, rest assured, the greatest intelligence in our world today is held by the United States military. They have the best intelligence resources. So based on what Take Back, your experience, on what it takes to do this right. They know it. And so if it takes 90 days, then this national emergency will have to be declared in August. So listen, it's a well thought out plan, according to Jerome Corsi in 107. This is nothing new. They've been planning this for a long time. And so don't get hung up on the 30 days. That was something I said, perhaps they'll do it 30 days out based on what Take Back has said. That doesn't seem feasible. So we should expect this, sometime in late summer is my guess. And if it gets into late August and September and it hasn't happened, based on what Take Back said, it doesn't bode well because it's got to take time to implement, to educate and train people to do this the right way. So that being said,
Scotty, real quick before you go on, how could you be an LA resident in LA County, watch what happened with the response of the fires, and you would still put that lady in charge? She looked like a scared deer in front of people. She had no idea how to handle that problem. It was the same exact thing what we saw in Maui. Dude, I just can't believe that the Democrats are that hell-bent on Bass going up there. She's a total disgrace. She doesn't have the answers. She fought back on President Trump when he was trying to give her help. I mean,
they love people they can control, Marlon. The dumber the mayor of Los Angeles is, the easier she is to control like a puppet. So, they like weak, stupid people. Democrats, rhinos, they love to put people in positions of authority they can control. Bass is easily manipulated and controlled. She's not her own mayor. She's working for her overlords. But all right, Tina Peters. About 3 months ago, we started to plan a free Tina Peters telethon because we're all she is a representative of what's wrong in this country. Gold Star mom, grandmother, 70 plus years old, sitting in jail for 9 years for what? For exposing election fraud. And I think everybody here knows the backstory on Tina Peters. So we were going to do a free Tina Peters telethon. Then the word came down that she was going to get out. She is out. Tina is out of prison. June 1st, she was released. We just got her parole terms. They're actually pretty good. She can speak. She can do podcasts and broadcasts, and she'll be able to come on the telethon. We have changed the nature of the telethon to Lift Tina Telethon. Tina's got $250,000 in legal bills. She does not have the financial means to pay those, and she's got a life to live. She's starting, I don't know what she had. Her resources were limited before she went to prison. Very capable lady, was capable of creating income. She always had good jobs. She was the Mesa County, Colorado clerk. I don't know what it pays, probably $80,000. But the woman had a job and a side hustle. She's coming out of prison with nothing, zero. She's at ground zero. And we're going to raise money for her June 14th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central, 10 to 10 Eastern, 12-hour telethon. Let me read you the guest list. The folks coming on are General Flynn, Steve Stern, who anybody who knows the Republican Party and what's going on there has heard of Steve Stern, 80-some years old, and he's still working in politics. Peter Tickton, who is Tina's lead attorney. Peter Tickton will be on. Interesting sidebar with Peter Tickton. One of his best friends from military school is POTUS, Donald John Trump, and he may make an appearance. That would be kind of cool. Patrick Byrne, Ann Vandersteel, Joe Hoff from the Gateway Pundit, Lara Logan, best independent journalist in my opinion, Joe Altman, SGAnon, Trennis Evans, Scott McKay, Juan 07, David Clements, Kim Yater, John Dowling, G. Edward Griffin, and a few others are coming on. So what we want to do is raise as much money for Tina. It's going directly to Tina. There's no middleman. That's important because in her time in jail, there were a few people that raised money for her. No names mentioned here. And those individuals, one of them has not turned over the money they raised for Tina, sadly. So go figure that. But so the money's going directly to her, tinapeters.us. There's a donation button on our website. And we're going to give it our best shot. I've done 2 of these telethons. It's reasonable to think with somebody like Tina, we can raise $40,000-$50,000 in the 12 hours. At least that's what we're hoping. We got a couple of crypto guys coming on that we're going to be able to take crypto donations. And we got a guy who bought the recovered diamonds from 9/11 at the World Trade Center. They recovered some diamonds. Apparently there was a big a diamond jeweler in the Trade Center. They recovered the diamonds. This gentleman has bought them, and he's put them in American flag pins. They're anywhere from a 1/4 carat to, I guess, upwards of 2 carats, and we're going to auction those pins off, and the money's going to go to Tina. So that's the story. And answer any questions if there are any about the event. But Tina is an iconic. She paid the price for all of us. She did what all of us wanted her to do. She went in front of a microphone and said, "I'm the Mesa County, Colorado clerk. I thought I ran a fair, clean election. I now know I did not. I take responsibility for the fraud. It's on me. It happened in my county, and I'm going to expose it." And in doing so, she landed in jail. Purely a political prisoner, nothing more, nothing less. She was a political prisoner, and thank God she's surprisingly, Governor Polis of Colorado must have had a guilty conscience. He has let her out of jail, and I mean, she's got some restrictions on her life, but again, they're not bad. I just read the parole terms, and she is going to be an open voice, and she will be instrumental in bringing election fraud to the. I mean, I don't know how you could live in America and not know that election integrity is a huge issue. I don't know how you can be a living, breathing adult and not understand the problems we have. But, you know, still people sleepwalking, and Tina will do a good job the coming year. I imagine she'll spend the next year, you know, going on radio shows and podcasts and spreading the word. And we're going to do our best to help her on June 14th. So thanks for letting me. I did put the flyer for the event in the Purple Pill. Thank you, Marlon. I appreciate you allowing me to put it out there.
Hey, man, Scotty, look, and hang out if you got a couple of minutes, but any help that you need there, especially when it gets a little bit closer, make sure you're sending us the link there. And, you know, if it's not me up here, Julie, Terry, you know, Nika, Truth, you know, they'll retweet it.
Yeah, it's good to see Daz and Tinfoil. It's good to see your guys in the room. It's going to be real simple. Sovereignradio.com will be the main platform that the telethon will be broadcast on. And we're signing up other podcasters and broadcasters to carry it on their site. But just remember sovereignradio.com, June 14th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tina is going to make several appearances. We don't know what time she's coming on, but she will come on a few times over the 12 hours.
Very cool, very cool. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people that want to hear her talk. So, Scotty, any help we can do, man, it'd be great. So,
thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thankful. You want to jump in there? I know we made you wait there, but go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. Just one little tiny thing. Bass is definitely 100% puppet. She's a communist, and she was trained to be a communist and trained to say whatever they want her to say. So it's actually really well documented. So that's what we got in LA for the moment.
I can't believe it. The residents, I can't believe they're talking in LA County that they're holding back some of the building permits to rebuild these houses. If I was a constituent there, if I was paying taxes, they wouldn't be able to contain me. Thankful. This was the rhetoric that I did hear. They're not giving out any building permits.
Yeah, well, and that's why in Central California, on the coast, in Monterey, Salinas, all of that, that's why we're under so much pressure because people have left San Francisco and they've left Los Angeles. And all of the towns from LA all the way up 101 are stuffed full of people we've never seen before. And they're like, they think we're all like living in the dark ages because we don't have every single for them. And so the towns have changed like overnight since those fires. It's unbelievable.
I mean, hearing Spencer Pratt's story, I mean, he's living in a trailer. I can't believe he didn't get more of a vote share and how it was manipulated. I'm flabbergasted. Hey, it's bad enough we watch in Jersey, let alone watching California go down.
Yeah, they just cheat. It's like a given thing. And it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing to say you're from California and everybody's like, you guys are a bunch of communist cheaters. And I'm like, well, I'm not, but a whole bunch of other people are. Ugh.
Well, hey, I think it was Booker Scott retweeted something about Scott Wiener, right? He's running for Congress in California. Now, Thankful and Angela, this guy graduated with me in Washington Township High School in Gloucester County, New Jersey, right? So he's not even a native of California, number one. Right. I would have beat that clown up so many times if I knew he was going to turn out to be some kind of pedophilia, leftist evildoer. I would have picked on him a lot more. He was in a lot of my classes, and when I seen that photo today, I've talked about it before. Julie Butte, she knows that he graduated with me in my class. I'm very embarrassed to say that man was a part of that graduating class in 1988.
You're saying that Anthony Weiner is running for a seat in California?
No, Scott Wiener. Scott Wiener.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Huma Abedin's ex.
No. But this clown Scott Wiener, I mean, he's all for transitions and he's all for the schools teaching this and drag shows going on. Yeah, I mean, he's perverted leftist. And yes, I am very embarrassed to say that this guy is running for Congress in California. I don't know what district, but man, if I would have known that when we were kids, he would have had a tough paper route.
Gotcha. Thanks for clarifying on that. I heard Weiner, but I didn't catch the first name. But the problem with California is the way they've got it rigged. They've got it rigged for a one-party state. And we see that happening. And part of the process of that is slow walking the vote. They want to get enough votes ahead to take Bass across the line and probably Xavier for governor. And that's how they work. And that's why Donald Trump's calling it out. And that's why it needs to stop.
Man, like I said, from Scotty's lips to God's ears, a part of me has known from the very beginning, even coming on this app, that, hey, there has to be some kind of change in our voting system. Nobody trusts it anymore. It's just, like you said, hey, everybody's cheating. They're holding on to the votes. I think last night, California reported 58% of the vote in. I think today I saw 64 this morning. It may be a little bit higher, but, do they still have her manipulated? They had a check mark on her this morning.
And that's the thing about the mail-in voting. We're one of the few countries that allows that. And how do you verify which votes have come in? If you're socking away for one candidate, how do you, and that's why it's so bad to have that type of a practice. And that when you look at the states that do it, those are usually your blue states that will have your Democrat candidates winning. It always airs to them. It always works for them.
Well, do you think, here you go, Terry. It was, what was it, last year that they were proposing to let 16-year-olds vote, right? They see where they are manipulated. Now, look, my kids admittingly tell me that they were indoctrinated coming out of the New Jersey school system, even in my hometown, right? It took them really 2 years to break it. They would ask them children all kinds of questions about your parents. Do they smoke? Do they have guns? All this information they were corralling on us. My kids saw it, and it really, again, took them 2 years to really realize what they went through in the school system. So now, if you think about it, in New Jersey, they're trying to get 16-year-olds to vote. Look at the voting class coming out. Now, in my graduating class, there was like 1,200 kids. Now that same school district has like 1,800, 1,900 kids. Think about the voting base inside of your local politics, how they're going to be able to try and control it. You're not going to tell me that Mikey Sherrill's not looking at this metric. She's already telling you that she's going to do this with the immigrant population.
No, there's no doubt. Any angle they can come up with to enhance their probability of winning, they will seize on it. For example, the Senate, they cannot take back the Senate without name. So you've got Chuck Schumer, who by his own admission is Jewish, is endorsing a candidate. Is it Graham? Is that, am I pronouncing that right? Who had a tattoo on his chest that represented the worst of World War II in the camp. And Chuck Schumer's endorsing it because they're in a death rattle right now. Donald Trump's our president. A lot of these elections aren't going their way. We've done the redistricting. So it's amazing what they will do, how they will compromise their principles to stay in power. Such hypocrites.
Being a lifelong Republican in a blue state like New Jersey, it's been hard to take, and we expressed it yesterday because, hey, some of those campaigns didn't work out for your candidate, right? This is really the time they need to ante up again. If they had any kind of vote share coming out of the election, whether it was a township, county commissioner, legislative seat, congressional seat, whatever vote share that they took, they need to go, number one, and go support the undercard. If any of these politicians did that, and I think that Doc should do the same thing in Texas, if Doc doesn't go and support the undercards and strengthen his voting base, because he was there. I don't know why there wasn't a runoff. Kemp didn't get, not Kemp, the incumbent governor, he didn't get over 50%. Why did they run off Paxton and they didn't run off Doc? So I'm hoping that Doc really goes and visits every one of, realistically, hey, those undercard counties where it really counts, and support those Republicans there, and that will work on his own voter base for the next seat that comes up. He wants to go run for governor in 4 years. Guess what? He'll have the voting base to do it, and I hope they, man, they got to do something. It's the same story. Jack Ciattarelli lost the election last year. We could have really used Jack's influence on this past primary. It would have really been nice to have a stronger Republican there that guaranteed your vote. Oh, yeah, your vote's going to count. And he lost miserably, right? We lost our asses on our state assembly. We lost in the Senate. We lost a governor. We're in shambles. We have no other recourse at the end of the day. Jason, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Republican in California, so I can sympathize with the lifelong Republican of anywhere up along the eastern seaboard, save Florida. So, it's here in California, it's really a joke. You know what I mean? And we get this billing of all Californians, they keep voting for the blue people. No, ladies and gentlemen, we're not. We are ground zero for the grift, theft, and fraud. Our elections are far from free and fair, and it's been going on for years. I mean, look, if we believe the 2020 election was stolen on the presidential national level, and I believe that it was, California's been getting ripped off for decades. and the system here. I mean, there were 50 people on the ballot for governor. Like the bar is so, and like 30 of them were Democrats. So they're just running a numbers game. But I have a bone to pick with the RNC, the Republican National Committee. I mean, they sat on their hands in the New York.
Jason, join the club. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Join the club. The people that are upset at their own GOP. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean they sat on their hands and with the New York mayoral election, threw a bone to Cuomo. Didn't deserve a bone, in my opinion. I would have been fine with the Guardian Angels guy. But look what happened in New York. They sat on their heels. They're like, this is wrong. This is wrong. Look what's going to happen. Watch the train wreck happen, and then just complained about it the whole time. I mean, the RNC, by and large, in my opinion, is impotent, especially in California. And you're not going to take back America and make America great again and leave California out of it, because as California goes, so does the rest of the country. The largest economy in the United States is California. So the battleground is here, and they've been ignoring it. They could have put up Devin Nunes. They could have put up Darrell Issa. Hell, they could have put up Kevin McCarthy and probably had a really good showing. No, we got this British guy. I voted for Bianco. I'm not going to afraid to say that. And he was maybe the lesser of 50 evils. I don't know. But I definitely wasn't rallying behind Hilton. From what I understand, that guy was for the masks and the mandates and the vax and the this and the that. And I don't necessarily think we need a British guy coming in here telling us what to fucking do. Excuse my French. But, hey, I'll take it if it's a red guy and he's changed, his spots better than the prospect of Katie Porter or Xavier Becerra. Please know, thank God Eric Swalwell, by the grace of God and some, misfortunate victims, got yanked out, because that would have been California would have been nail in the coffin if Swalwell would have been allowed to run. He was still on the ballot. His name was still on the damn ballot, if you could believe
that's
that.
Intentional. Jason, that's intentional. They keep them on the ballot. This way, hey, they're deflecting votes. Hey, if somebody was a soft R and they knew that, hey, this was the best Democrat they could vote for, they're going to do it. So you can't do that. Well, you can in the general, but you can't in the primary. But, Jason, look, I think if you follow, California, we're going to watch it play out here. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's July 10th is when they'll be able to finally certify the votes. I mean, I just don't get it. And my question, this is my other part I wanted to get on here and ask this question, genuinely speaking. I believe in the separation of powers. I believe in federal, state, local. If some states are a different way or different lifestyle or different whatever, and they want to vote differently on certain things and have certain laws on certain things, hey, that's the state's rights. But they can't obviously supersede the federal government. But at what point and under what pretext or constitutional guardrails is the federal government allowed to commandeer a state and go, all right, enough's enough. You're stealing, you're lying, you're cheating, and you're not representing your people. It's purely taxation without representation. We have the highest gas prices, the unaffordability, the homelessness, the open air drug use and defecation on the streets, and arguably one of the most beautiful states and quite possibly in the world places to be. And I'll never leave California and be chased out. I will never leave, and I'll stay here and keep my voice and try to get my voice heard. But under what pretext did the feds can finally go in there and go, all right, enough's enough. We've seen enough. We're going to commandeer it until we can have an election, and it's going to be watched by the feds and monitored, and we're going to right this ship here. I mean, there has to be some sort of constitutional angle that they can take. I don't know what it is, though.
Well, look, ever since I came on the app, you're talking to a guy in New Jersey. So, Jason, I feel your pain. I know exactly what's going on. I know that they're producing mail-in ballots out of the counties the Republicans didn't win. There's all kinds of meandering going on. But if we had some kind of cleansing, I'm for raising the civic duty of people, citizenry. Take every politician out of it. Make a board of people, just like a jury process, to go in and
100%. Jury
Yep.
duty, just like jury duty, 100%. I love that.
Same thing. You know, I'm also a big proponent of really changing the electoral system. Obviously, they've manipulated the electoral system. I'm a guy that would like to see it go back to the town, back to the county, you know, work on a point system. This way, hey, we can have every vote in America count, not just the ones they want you to. Right. And dude, we've been suffering like that in southern New Jersey my entire life, Jason. So, you know, look, welcome to the community. I did give you a follow. Let me, Scotty, if you don't mind, can I get Darren real quick and we'll go to you, Scotty, and then hey, we'll think about wrapping it up here.
Do your thing, brother.
Darren, what's happening, man? What's up, Dad?
Hello, Marlin. Thank you for that. I kind of figured that you guys were going to be wrapping up. I just like listening, don't I? Especially having Marlin back. No offense, Uncle Matt. You've been doing great, but my neurodivergence is just so used to listening to Marlin. Like I've been doing it for years now, right? So it was so good hearing you guys shifting the conversation. Well, not even a conversation. Just to let you know, it's got nothing to do about politics. But today is the day where the space that I created with this community in mind and the everyday person, not just the UFO nerds, having Pastor Alan Didio in the space speaking on the UFO files and end times. So I was saying to Uncle Matt in the back channels, I'm saving a slot for him and Marlin because I really want to tap into this community, even if it's for the first hour, and then whoever else comes in. But I'm really trying to curate a space that is not just for the UFO niche, because once the UFO files got dropped, it now impacts everybody. And the ontological shock that I can feel a lot of people are experiencing, it's a lot. So I want to be able to have that conversation with the pastor and allow people to, share where they're at with this and ask him questions, or anyone else from the community. So yeah, just letting you know, it's in about 4 hours.
Okay, so it's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock East.
Yeah, that's right. 4 p.m. Eastern.
I will, Darren. I will do my best to jump in there and definitely listen to you guys getting started there.
Appreciate it.
That's a big deal, man. I've heard UFO stories since I've been a kid. Roswell, New Mexico. I bet those people are really looking for what is really dropped out there. I mean, there's got to be some, there's evidence there, right? We all see it. You can't imagine.
But
you
also,
can't imagine.
Marlin, is it a mass deception? Is this Project Bluebeam? And this is what this pastor is talking about, because he was called up in a meeting in February. And that's what they were kind of saying. You need to prepare your congregation, but prepare them that it's a mass deception. So this is really what we're going to try and break down. Like, I know that these things are out there, but also, are we being psyoped? It's a very complicated conversation, and it's testing a lot of people's faith, all of those things. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I did have you guys in mind when I created it.
Awesome, Darren. Great to see you, man. Hey, I'll try and jump in there. It's going to be the end of the day for me, but I'll do my best. Hey, look, my skies over New Jersey are filled with high flyers, right? I know what air traffic looks like. They're not air traffic, okay? I mean, it's constant. Okay, some of them may be satellites reflecting off the sun. I get it. But, dude, there's so much of it. And a lot more than there used to be. I've stared up at that sky a long time here. I've never seen traffic like I see now. Okay, Scotty, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, boy, I miss your spaces, Marlon. Always good conversation. I'm sorry I changed our production schedule at Sovereign Radio to do production in the morning. But anyway, it's good to listen.
Scotty, hold on 1 second. Hey, look, I've taken a hair step back and really concentrating on some of my local. And I would like to do a couple of night spaces here too, maybe early evening, something along those lines. So, look, we're gonna mess it up and throw it around here, and not just in the morning here. I'd like to see some other spaces,
Well, we got to get back to our original intent to help each other, Sovereign Radio and American X Live. We got to get back to that. But I wanted to jump in on California. I spent a lot of time in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, but I am a legal resident of San Diego County. And I've been in San Diego County as a resident for 22 years now. And the bottom line, I would bet money, and I think now you can bet money on things like this, so I'm going to look into it. Southern California is made up of 4 major counties. Other than LA County, which is likely still blue, I know that San Diego County, Orange County, and Riverside County in Southern California are no longer blue counties. They haven't been for years. They're Republican. By process of elimination, knowing the Democrats and the rhinos have stolen everything in California, from our money to our votes, it is a red state, California. Northern California is also red. So you tell me, if not for pilferage, cheating, stealing our money, our votes, how is California considered a blue state? It makes zero sense. I'd like to get Jason's opinion on that, because he is a Californian. I sympathize with you, Jason. I've been there 22 years by way of Chicago, and I'll tell you what, Chicago's a lost cause. I don't even want to talk about it. It makes my heart bleed to think about my great hometown of Chicago, what's happened in that city. But the bottom line is, California, if left to its vices of we the people, would be an overwhelming red state. I guarantee it, and I bet money on it. I'm going to find somewhere you can bet on those things on some sites now. So it's sad to see, and why we haven't had a major uprising or a major movement. I can only continue to pray that this plan to take the midterms back through a national emergency that's on Trump's desk is going to be implemented, because I don't see any other way but to get the military involved, and to do it by way of the military and national emergencies. I just don't see any other way.
That's where I'm at with it, Scotty. Sorry, Marlon. That's where I'm at with it. I mean, under what pretext can they come in and just commandeer and watch and make sure that it's free and fair? Like, I mean, that needs to happen, because it's not. I mean, dead people vote in California, illegals vote in California, and people that don't exist actually vote in California. And the fact that you have 50 people on the ballot for governor, there has to be some criteria that you have to meet. I mean, you can get only 6,000 signatures, I think, and get onto the ballot. And then if the other requirements, a few $1,000. I mean, there could be a bunch of paid people to just go out there and get on the ballot to just muddy it up. And it's not alphabetical. It's not by the top candidates polling. It's just randomly thrown out there, against the wall, and to see what kind of shit'll stick. So, I mean, it's been stolen from us for decades. When Arnold came in here, and I was a supporter of Arnold until he said, "Screw your damn freedom and get the jab." Then I was like, "Hey, Arnie, go fuck yourself."
So I'm sorry, Jason. I didn't correct you first, dude. The only thing we don't do is drop the F-bomb here. Sorry.
All right, my bad. I apologize.
If Elon or Papa Trump came in here, I'd tell them the same thing.
Agreed. No worries. We'll keep it clean that way. But it's frustrating. So I mean, California has been stolen for decades. I believe what Scotty said. We're more red than anything. San Bernardino County, I believe, is red as well, which butts up right against Riverside County. And San Bernardino County, at least land-wise, is the largest county in America. Population-wise, no, but size, it's the largest, and it's also red. And so, illegals, dead people, and people that don't exist, no voter ID. I mean, and then what they can't legislate, they regulate. And who's challenging the regulations? That gets tied up in court forever. So, if you can't legislate it, regulate it, and then good luck trying to repeal it.
Hey, guys, there's 209 sovereign nations in the world, essentially. And out of those 209, America, certainly the only nation of consequence. About 200 of those 209 nations require IDs to vote. You cannot show up at a polling booth in Africa, in all of Europe, in the most backward third world nations. You need a frickin' ID to vote.
Well, Scotty, listen, and Jason, I got you in mind when I say this. Thankful, Angela, hey, California does seem radical, right? It just doesn't feel as unruly here on this side. Our local police is not going to put up with any antics. That's why I laugh at Delaney Hall, but Delaney's down there in the inner city. Everybody can get to it. They can walk to it. That's why it's so pronounced there. There's other detention centers that there's nothing going on, right? So, again, in my eyes, if we want to try and fix the electoral system, we want to certify the vote, we want the military to be involved, there would have to be continuity with our local. Because guess what? America's not going to accept you're going to have a Humvee roll up in front of your courthouse and take over the elections, dude. It ain't going to happen like that. It's got to be some kind of continuity with some of the local officials, some kind of checks and balances system, IDs, referring back to addresses, verifying people. I could see this is where the military could come in and advise. I'm not saying, hey, the military come in here, take it over. That Jason, I don't think people are going to accept.
I'll tell you where they can start, where I would consider the capital of, Republicandom in California, and that's Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach City Council is red, and those people are taking it to the state. They're fighting the state for all sorts of manner of things. And if you come down to Huntington Beach, you will see a lot of MAGA, a lot of Trump support, a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans. Those aren't all one and the same. They try to lump us all into one, block category, and maybe by and large we are. But the Huntington Beach is taking the fight to the state. And yeah, I'm not for Humvees rolling up to the state capitol, but there has to be some apparatus or mechanism for them to come in here and guarantee us a free election. I mean, yeah, you need an ID to do anything except vote in this country, which is crazy. And, Thune and the Save America Act, like, what is going on, guys? Paid controlled opposition, you're on the list. I don't know what they're doing, but they're impotent, spineless, no backbone, and just talking a big game, and then just wait. Are we just waiting out the 4 years, and when then Trump's gone, back to fucking business? Sorry, excuse me, I dropped the F-bomb again. But you know what I mean? It's frustrating. It's so frustrating as a Californian, but I'm not leaving, so we'll take that.
Jersey's exactly the same way. In fact, this is the first year there's been a change at the table. The people that verify my address and my signature, they do that. And I take my ID out and I snap it on the table just because. She says, "Oh, no, we don't need that," And I snap it on there because I think most Americans are scarred. I'm going to start demanding it. These are probably things that we should be taking to our state legislature, to our election boards, to be able to raise questions, to be able to put on the ballots, and have some kind of polling done to where, hey, what would America accept? They are not accepting the election now. We have to fix it. So, Julie, did you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I did the same thing with my ID. I asked him, you want to see it? I had it in my hand, showed it. He's like, no, we just, need your address and blah, 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 verify your name and address. And I'm like, well, anybody can say that. He didn't say nothing to me. And then, just what Wake Up New Jersey, Michael is in Trenton today fighting a bill. And I put it in the purple bubble a while ago. He's standing in front of the sign and he recorded it saying, "Oh, this you have to show your ID to get in here, but not for voting. Make it make sense."
Well, hey, Michael's a sport, man. He's going to take time off to go down in there and do that. He's very educated, man. There's a lot of bills that come up that he's identifying here in New Jersey. A lot of people should follow your timeline, Julie, because a lot of those bills that he's exposing here, they're being done and instituted into your states. Way to the I-28 bill or something that was introduced to Oregon about the commercial fishing fleet. They're going to put an end to all, thankless acts against animals, no more mouse traps. I mean, this is ridiculous talk, right? So they have to see this. What's that, Julie?
I said no bird feeders.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to take my fireplace away. So, Jason, Angela, thankful, we're dealing with the same things here. It's just not as pronounced as California is. I think Jersey's the test tube. That's what I think. Go ahead, thankful.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I had to show an ID the other day. I had to take it out of my wallet so they could scan the back of it. Someone somewhere knows that a 65-year-old person bought some beer, but when I went to vote, they're all like, no, you don't need an ID. So I slapped that down on the table. And then that same thing they're trying to get through in California. If they can get that through in California that we cannot kill anything, California's agriculture stops on a particular day because, and don't take this the wrong way, somebody's going to get upset, but that's basically what we do. We grow food and we kill all the little things that are trying to take the food away from us so that we can get a truckload to you. And that's even in the wine industry. I am so adept at killing all of the things or putting them in some type of container where they do not eat wine grapes. They do not eat wine plants, which are called vines. I'm so good at it. I had no idea as a child how much time I was going to spend squashing other little things. Now, I'm licensed. I have all of the things. I'm so registered. Everybody in the world can find me in California because I have filled out every single piece of paper. I got 100 on my hunter safety because that's what we do. If I don't eliminate squirrels, they will eliminate my grapevines. If I don't eliminate all the other things, nematodes, worms, it goes on and on and on and on. And so as soon as they get that through in California, there will not be one crop coming out of here. Nothing. And then what are they going to do with all the people that supposedly work in the fields? They also are eliminating those. And that's a friend of mine that has the bug vac and the weed vac and all the other things. And those humans are no longer going to be working out in the fields. And they are still one law away from all tractors being able to be driven by computer, by somebody who sits in a room and drives the computer with a little joystick. So it's gonna be wild rodeo, and I'd love to say I'm gonna stay in California, but I kind of was thinking maybe I'd do something a little different for a little while. So Scotty, I'm glad you're staying, but I don't know. I might be on my last knot at the end of it.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. Let me tell you quickly that number one, I'm battling this family of squirrels. Okay, they come down. I've put every mechanism on this bird feeder. I cannot keep these some bitches off of that bird feeder. It's killing me. So in my garden, I planted celery. Well, the other day, me and my wife are sitting there, we're tending the garden, cutting the suckers off, and we noticed one of the celery plants is gone. Right, the entire plant is gone. My wife was devastated. Right, so we kind of okay, all right, we chalked it up. We kind of did some prep, blah blah blah. Well, the following 2 days we come back out. He not only took the other celery plant, he started taking our potato plants. So I'm out for blood on these little varmints. And I couldn't imagine my state legislature coming to give me a ticket for this. I mean, it's kind of like just as absurd as me burning wood in my fireplace that we've been doing since the beginning of time. And New Jersey wants to take that away. Oh, yeah. In New Jersey, you're not allowed to have bird feeders because it attracts the bears. And you know what? It tells me right there that the people inside the State Department in New Jersey have no idea what they're talking about. They could not have an understanding of what their environment actually consists of. So, I got a lot of great ideas. I know that those state employees, California included, they've taken the mountain lion off you're not allowed to hunt the mountain lions now. I mean, how many attacks are going on? These predators are going unchecked. It's the same shit here. Same exact thing. Could you imagine? Oh, hey, we're not allowed to kill a coyote because it came in and ate the neighbor's dog.
The latest is we're not allowed to tell each other. In Monterey County, we are not allowed to tell each other that the cougars, pumas, mountain lion, whatever you want to call them, they told us that we can't communicate with the next door neighbors on social media that they are coming our direction. So now we just calling each other on the phone because we all know, but those animals the fires pushed them down, and then they come after dogs. They've taken, in the county I live in, they've taken a donkey, a llama, a bunch of dogs. They will take a child at some point because they have that's not even a problem. Most of us would never have a swing set outside because they will take a kid. That's just, and the mom can only run so fast. So, it's, and now I can't look on, like they have those neighborhood watch things. We're not allowed to post that anymore.
Well, I can tell you that we have the same kind of problem with coyotes here, right? We a lot of guys around here when they're deer hunting, they're running cameras, and here a guy down the street, not 2 miles from my house, there's his dog in the mouth of a coyote. Right now, they put all kinds of restrictions on us hunting the coyotes. I go outside of my door, I hear them every day. I can only imagine with the cougars in California, along with the coyotes. So, yeah, I could imagine those LA fires, they push them animals around and they're a little confined. Yeah, I would say thankful. You're going to hear that next story, no doubt. Okay, Julie, and we'll go to Miles.
Yeah, real quick. If they get away with it out there, Marlon, for sure it's going to come here to New Jersey. That's for sure. We're the bookends, man. Anyway, I just wanted to say, guys, thank you for a great space. Truth, Terry. I have to get going. I have to get outside, touch some grass. Nice sunny day, beautiful out there. And everyone have a great day. One more time, please go down to the Purple Bubble, like and reshare this space so that people that come in later during the day that have to work can listen to this. Great conversations going on. Have a great day. I love you all.
Thanks to see you. Good to see you, Julie. Thanks for coming in, hanging out. Yes, thank you for contributing today. Hey, let's go. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know that I'm going to be around tomorrow, but I'm going to do my best. I don't think so. I got another lead job to do. But anyway, Miles, you want to jump in there? And then, hey, we're definitely going to hear from Dee Dee before we go. I'm sure he's got something to say about the screw worm. Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, Molly had a good day at the dog park. She's like the Walmart greeter of the dog park. She's friendly because she's a lab, but she's got Rottweiler in her, so there's no unruly dogs at the park. Nobody knows what's going to happen, how these things are going to play out. Now, there are some clues. So when they start like crying and bitching about certain things in DC, like, what do you mean? You said that you were going to train these ICE agents in 72 days, and you've ramped that up. They don't have the proper training. So that might give you a clue that ICE agents might be at the polls working with the local police. It's not going to be everywhere in the country. It's going to be in key areas. And then they're going to use technology to make sure there's a chain of custody on all these ballots. I don't know if they're going to get rid of the machines by that point, but they're paying attention. They were paying attention in 2020. When Trump says he's got it all, he's got it all. The NSA is listening to us right now. So we'll just see how it plays out. I don't care who you listen to. They don't know what's going on. None of us do. If they know what's going on, the bad guys know what's going on. So we'll see how this plays out, but there are little clues out there that can kind of direct you to pay attention to certain things that are happening. Thanks for the mic again. You guys have a great day.
Didi, go ahead, Marlins.
Didi, how you doing, man? Good to see you, Didi. Whew. Marlon, Truth, how y'all doing, guys?
Yo.
Yeah, well, the screw worm being detected in the cap in Texas just goes to show you what big ag, what kind of pull they have. That damn border should have never been opened. They shouldn't have let it get that close to the border, and now it's officially in the, detected in one cow. And I don't know what some of these people up there are thinking, but they need to get their shit together. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's ridiculous. But it's been a pretty good while since I've been on. I want to let you know why. May 5th, I went into VFib and had to go to the hospital, and they had to do a cardioversion, which would be shocking my heart back into rhythm. And March the 30th, I was within about 10 seconds of joining Iceman. I come outside, my cattle had gotten out. I come outside, I turn around to go back in the house, get my shoes, and it hit me. And the next thing I remember is waking up on my living room floor. The pacemaker, I went into VTAC. Pacemaker tried to pace my heart back into rhythm. It didn't. And so the pacemaker shocked me. The defibrillator kicked in, and that's what pretty much saved my life. I was headed to the yonder, and but luckily they got everything squared away. The pacemaker did its job. I was able to wake up long enough to call my brother, and we got an ambulance and everything here and got to the hospital. So right now I'm doing fine. We had a real bad reaction to the medication that I'm giving, and so I'm trying to get that out of my system. But just want to let everybody know what was going on, and keep up the good work, Marlon. But the screwworm beef prices, I got 12 calves right now. I'm fixing to get them, take them to the sale, and so hopefully they'll bring a decent price. But these people out west, and I'm not saying it's all of them. These people out west, they're bitching and raising hell because the border's closed. Well, that is cheap cattle coming across that border. And that's the crap that they're feeding us. And as soon as the American public, as soon as some of these ranchers figure this out, that the public don't want this, then we'll be fine. But until then, Marlon, I don't know what to tell you. I know I'm keeping a very, very close check on my cattle. And so that, because the screwworm can be devastating. It can be devastating the entire herd. I know there's a protocol out now for treating it, but by the same token, once it's there, it's there. I mean, you're talking about using antibiotics and everything else to combat it, and guess what? That goes in the meat. So, it's. I'm not very proud of Brooke Rollins right now for, not taking more of a stand on it, and they should have eradicated that in Mexico. So they kept letting it inch forward and, inch closer to the border, and now it's here. So that's just something we're going to have to deal with. I'm going to put my cows in the pen right there, buddy.
Well, Edie, number one, hey man, I'm glad you're still with us. Amen, brother. Yo, it's a blessing to wake up every day, right? I mean, I guess that's the way we got to treat it from now on, Edie.
Oh yeah. I was very, very lucky, and so. But the defibrillator did its job. So I'm glad it did. I had a pretty good bump on the head and one on the eye where I hit the floor. So, but I've hired me a farm hand to kind of help out around and everything. So I won't be as much of it on me as it is, but I'll keep going till I kick off, Marlon. You know me.
Hey, Dee Dee, so now you recognize that sound when it charges up, don't you?
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, that's a bad feeling to wake up on the damn floor, man, and not know what's going on. And I mean, I barely could move. My next door neighbor got down here, and he's the one that picked me up off the floor. And so, but they got the cattle back in and everything, and ambulance come pick me up. I told them, I said, take me straight to Tupelo Hospital. So that's what they did. But yeah, I'm fixing to start cardio rehab, and the hard hittedness is gone. So I'm gonna do exactly what they say do to try to get all my strength and everything back, and be clicking along. I ain't kicked the bucket yet, so, and I don't plan on it anytime soon.
Man, it'd be a lonelier place without you, Dee Dee. So just think of that, man.
Yeah, I'll keep trying to join you as much as I can.
No problem, dude. Hey, take some rest, would you, Dee Dee, man? Come on, you hired a hand now. Come on, take advantage.
Yeah, and truth, kind of let Casey know what's going on. It's been a while since I talked to her. So
yeah, we'll do. She's got a lot going on. If you don't know, we all do, man. So just to make light, Dee Dee, hopefully give you a chuckle. When I worked as a medic, this poor guy, his pacemaker was just defibrillating him every like 5 or 10 minutes. It was just malfunctioning, and the poor guy, when we got there, he's just sweating. He's just looking at us, and you'd hear it charge up, and he'd like get this look on his face. Here it comes again. So hopefully that ain't gonna happen to you again, buddy.
Yeah, I hope not either. There's a procedure they can do in the heart called an ablation that is supposed to take care of any weird heartbeats, any VTAC or AFib and all this other kind of stuff, and get me off the blood thinners. And so I'm gonna tell him, let's do it. Just get rid of this shit once and for all. So I can get on back to doing what I do best, raising hell.
Well, I mean, if people do want to understand that, Dee Dee, if people don't know what that's actually doing, your heart basically starts firing off instead of from top to bottom. It'll fire off randomly from all over the place. And so all the defibrillator is doing is trying to stop all that and then let it start in its normal sinus rhythm. I got fascinated by that when I went through med school for that. It's an awesome thing, your heart. It really is.
Yeah. So anyway, but I know y'all ready to close out, so I just thought I'd drop in, let y'all know that I'm still kicking. And anyway, but I'll put my cows in the pen right there. Thanks, Martin. I appreciate it, buddy.
Amen, Dee Dee. Glad to hear it. Take a kick back, man. Get the rancher. Get that hand going, man. He can handle it. You don't have to be there. So it's great to see you, Dee Dee.
All right, buddy. I'll see y'all later.
And listen, hey, Scotty. And I want to go through the couple of people that are up here. Scotty, thanks for coming up, man. And we'll get back on track with Sovereign Radio there. And
thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate you guys. All of you do a great job.
Good to see you, Scotty. Thanks. Full. Thank you for coming up and educating us on California today. Daz, I appreciate you coming in. Hopefully I'm going to see you at around 4 o'clock. Appreciate you doing that. Dr. Angela, thanks for coming up today. Jason, welcome to the neighborhood. I did give you a follow. So, this is the kind of discussion. If I'm not here, Truth's here, Julie's here, Terry's here, Nika's here. a lot of people join in. So, hey, thanks for hanging out today, Jason, and good to get to know you without the F-bombs, bro, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Marlon. Thanks for the follow and enjoyed the space. Sometimes it's just therapeutic to vent a little bit, but I'll definitely look to join again. And Daz sounds like he has an interesting space later, so maybe I might join in on that one as well.
There you go. Thanks, Jason. Terry, man, thanks for coming up and helping us out today and kind of saving us. So appreciate you coming up there, Mr. President.
Well, you're certainly welcome, Marlon. And just remember, what's wrong with America can be fixed by what's right with America.
Hey, man, thanks, Terry. It's so close. Terry, you're so good at it, man. Truth, appreciate you coming up, jumping up.
Yeah, well, based on what you're saying, I'm figuring that I'll be jumping up tomorrow in your stead. So, I guess I'll see y'all tomorrow. If Marlon doesn't do it, jump on when I'm doing it. Show some support. Y'all got a lot of people in here today, so that's good. But like I say, towards the end of the spaces, whenever I host, remember, don't sweat the small stuff. Just realize everything is small stuff. Put God first in your life. It really does make a difference. There you go.
Well, thanks for coming up, both you and Terry, Julie, when she jumps up, Nika. I know, good to see you guys. I put a couple of pictures in the pill, and in fact, tomorrow I got one more lead job to do. So for any of you medical technicians out there, I'm the guy that actually saves you from the x-rays, right? I'm the guy that puts up the lead behind the drywall and certifies it, right? So I've made a living just out of that. It's expensive to do, but knowing, hey, you got this guy behind you, right? So you don't get zapped. Hey, great discussion today. I do appreciate everybody came in and contributed. Check out, I know Ringo's got a space going later on, or no, I'm sorry, that's tomorrow. Today's Thursday. So yeah, I don't know who's going. Yep. Hey, you're on your own. So maybe we'll see you back in here tomorrow. If I get the time, Truth, I'll jump in. Daz, great to see you. Dr. Angela, American X, thankful. Terry, Jason, have a great rest of the day. God bless America.
Every day, all day.